Hello everyone, TMMgamer here, today bringing you a much requested FIFA 13 tutorial. Now today's tutorial is going to be focusing on crossing, but what I've decided to do is break the crossing tutorial into two parts. Now today's video is going to be covering a little bit more theoretical side. It's going to be considering when to cross, what type of cross to use in which situation, and then trying to build a bit of a framework to move on to the next video, which will be all about the practical, how to do it, how much power to use, what angle you're using, all of that sort of stuff. So I'm hoping that by doing these two tutorials separately, you can get all the groundwork first and then understand why the tips work in the future video, because I think understanding the tips is a key part to being able to implement them correctly. So let's move right on to the tutorial. Now, the first part of this tutorial is going to be really focusing on what to do when you've got a more powerful target man in the centre. Now, as you can see here, when the clips pause, I've just powered up a cross. So I'm aiming to put the ball in from this position. And the reason for this is, as you can see at the top of the screen, I've got Mario Balotelli in the penalty area. Now, Mario Balotelli, he falls more into the side of a target man style striker because he's nice and strong. He can bustle centre-halves out the way. He's normally got good movement as well, so he'll make a good run, hold the centre-half off and be able to bullet the header in. And what this enables you to do is put a lot more crosses into areas. Now, in this position here, I've highlighted the area now on the screen, which is a really good example of where you want to put the ball, because you want to drop the ball in behind the centre half, because what you're looking to do is encourage your striker to run onto the ball, beat that central defender in the air, and then put the header on target. And to be able to do that, it really helps him to get a run on that defender, because I've explained before in many tutorials, if you're running, you're going to be able to jump higher than the guy who's flat-footed. So the key part to any cross is to try and make sure you land it in a position where your striker, if he's a target man, has a chance to run onto it, get the centre half out the way, muscle him out the way, and then get the header on target. So that's where you're looking to aim it. And if you put a cross in like that, you stack all of the odds in your favour, because you want to put the centre half in the most awkward position possible and put your striker in the best position he can possibly be in at the same time. And if you can par both of these things together, as I run the clip through here, you can see what happens. Mario Balotelli gets a run on the centre half, who's a bit flat-footed, and that enables Mario to jump higher, get his head on the ball, and power a header on target. And if you do that, you're going to really maximise your chances to score, because headers are a fantastic option that you have to get shots on target through very little work. All you need to do is put the ball wide, which is one pass. If your winger's quick, run into some space, put the ball in, two passes, you get a good option to have a shot on target. And that's a very, very simple way to do it. But at the same time, you saw from that little bit of analysis there, you're not just aimlessly punting the ball into the area and hoping. It's all about what type of striker you've got. Now, if you've got a target man style striker like a Balotelli, an Ibrahimovic, a Falcao, a Drogba, that sort of player, you can put the ball into a bit more of a crowd and expect him to win the header. And that's when a cross like this really comes into its own, because you just put the ball into an area and you expect your striker to be able to run onto it, hold the centre halves off, and get that power header at goal. So that's the first tip. When you've got a target man, try and put the ball in early, put the ball in when the defender's a bit flat-footed, and back your striker to win the header. So that's the first tip. Let's move straight on to the second one. Now, in contrast to the first part of this tutorial where we covered what to do when you're crossing to a bigger target man style striker, the second part of the tutorial is going to be covering what to do in the complete opposite circumstance, when you're crossing to a guy that you know isn't particularly good in the air, or if he is, if he's technically competent at heading, he's not the biggest, he's not the strongest, he's not going to win too many challenges with a big centre half. And strikers or attacking players that fall into this mould are players like Sergio Aguero, Lionel Messi, Santi Cazorla, who I'm crossing to in this instance, and he's highlighted there. You know, all of these players are technically very, very competent, but they're not the most powerful, they're not the tallest, they're not going to beat Vincent Kompany or Nemanja Vidic in the air. So you have to change your crossing style to compensate for this. Now, as you can see here, I've highlighted Santi Cazorla at the moment in the penalty area, and he is the intended receiver for this cross. Now, what I've managed to do in this situation is run Djibril Cissé down the right hand side, get him in behind the back four, and when you're in this position, you've got to decide quite early what you want to do, because you've got defenders running back. They're not going to give you too much time. They're not just going to sit there and go, oh, these behind us, what are we going to do here? They're going to run at you. They're going to close the space down, and you've got to decide pretty quickly what you want to do. So as you can see here, I've already powered up to cross by this point, so I'm still in quite a lot of space. I've got probably about a 4-meter radius all around me with no opposition players, so I could choose to bring this closer to the goal. I could choose to try and dribble around a few and get a shot off, but in this situation I choose to cross. And the reason for this is, although I've explained that Santi Cazorla isn't particularly powerful, you know, he's not going to beat too many guys in the air. I think he's about 5'6" or 5'7", you know, he's quite a small guy. But what he does have, he has fantastic weak foot. He's got 5-star weak foot, so if you get him a volley, he's going to have a chance at target. And he's got a reasonable header, you know, he scores quite a few back post headers. If he's unmarked to the back post, you expect him to score. So bearing this in mind, you can't just put the ball in for him to run onto to compete with a centre-half and head it away, because 99 times out of 100 that centre-half's going to win the power duel, going to get a better jump on, and he's going to head it away. So what you're looking to do in this instance is drop the ball into space. Now before, what you were looking to do is just drop it into the area behind the centre-half and get your striker to run on. But as this is a weaker player, you need him to have a completely unopposed run in on the ball, if at all possible. I mean, occasionally if you do get your centre-half caught flat-footed, someone like Santi Cazorla with a run on the ball can beat him on the air if your cross is perfect. But this is the percentage option. So what you're looking to do is drop the ball in the area where I've highlighted it now, because Cazorla's quick over the ground. So if you just float the cross in, don't have to do too much with it, just get it into that space. That gives Cazorla a great chance to run onto it. At the same time, it doesn't give the centre-half enough time to get back and challenge for the header. So as you can see, as I run the clip forward here, you get Santi Cazorla running onto the ball. Because I've hit the cross hard enough, it clears the centre-half, drops into an area where he can run onto it, and he scissor kicks it into the top of the net. And you can see this is a very, very simple goal. All I've done is just one simple pass into the channel, run round with a pacey striker, and drop the ball on the back post. And that's all you need to do. The great thing with crossing in general is it's so easy. You know, if you're struggling to get your passing move going, go to crosses, get the ball into the box, because even if you don't win the header, the chances are it will bounce back off the keeper, or even if a defender does clear it, all he normally does is head it to the edge of the area. You can pick up the scraps, you can build again. So just simple techniques, but as you can see here, it scores really important goals, and this was an 86th minute winner in a cup quarter final, I think, in a cup that I ended up going on to and losing, unfortunately, on penalty shootouts in the final. But you know, it's just a nice, easy technique. But the two things you've really got to take away from this tutorial are, when you've got a target man up front, someone you trust to win a header, you can put the ball in earlier, you can put it into a contested zone, and as long as your guy gets a run on the ball and you've put the ball into an area that means the centre half's a little flat-footed, you back your striker to win the header. But on the other side of the coin, if you've got a slightly smaller striker, perhaps a more technically gifted striker who you play for his pace and his skill on the ball, but a guy who isn't going to boss a centre half off the ball, what you need to do instead is take a little bit more time, try and find an empty area of the penalty area to drop the ball into. Because if you do have a small guy competing against a centre-half, yes, occasionally he is going to thunder a header in, but you need to really play percentages in FIFA, especially when you're against a good opponent, because you're not going to have 20, 30 opportunities against a good opponent. You're going to have 3 or 4. And if you're in one opportunity to win a game, like I was in the second clip, just the easiest ball possible to give your striker the best opportunity to score. And if you keep playing to those percentages, you'll see you'll get much better results. Start off with the basics, and once you've got them nailed down, you can push on and then expand your game. And I think this tutorial certainly falls into a basics, because crossing is a fantastically easy technique, but as you can see from here, you can score goals relatively easily, and very important goals as well. So it's a brilliant tip. So guys, once again, I really hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. In the next one, I'm going to be covering all of the practical aspects of crossing, so how much power to use, how much swerve, all of that stuff. But I thought it was important today to get all that groundwork established, to understand why perhaps some of your crosses aren't working, and begin to start putting those type of balls in that are most effective for the right type of player. So guys, once again, thank you so much for watching the video, and as always, have a great day.